Charge against a Portland Antifa rioter has now been dropped. Eva Warner, also known as Joshua, was arrested a total of 3 times back during the summer of 2020 in connection to rioting and was then released without bail every single time. Eva completed just 30 hours of community service before the judge dismissed the case. Let's bring in Fraternal Order of Police National Vice President Joe Gamaldi. So, Joe, Portland police say here Eva directed a high-powered laser into the eyes of police, trying to disperse the crowd, and then resisted arrest.
You know, I really wish that this was a bad joke, but sadly it's not. It's an example of what we're seeing all across this country with our revolving door criminal justice system. I mean, here we have an Antifa terrorist, because that's what they are, they're terrorists. She's arrested 3 separate times for assaulting police officers and rioting. She gets 0 bond each time, so she's right back out on the streets. And now she's gotten 30 hours of community service for this. I mean, look at it this way. The teacher in your last segment spent more time in the airplane bathroom than this terrorist is going to spend in prison for doing what she did. And honestly, what kind of message does this send to terrorists and Antifa? You can do whatever you want, and there's no consequences for your actions. But the worst is the message that it sends to the community in Portland. These individuals wrecked that city for months, and basically what the system is saying is, we don't give a damn about your community or what they did, because nobody's going to be held responsible.
So it sounds like the courts are not just taking a softer approach to crime now, but in this specific case, they're moving retroactively, because this person convicted of this crime was just absolved. It was committed back in September 2020, absolved of all charges.
Yeah, and honestly, Jillian, over the last 2 years, we have seen a toxic cocktail being shoved down the throats of law-abiding Americans. It's rogue prosecutors giving sweetheart deals to violent repeat felons. It's the continued demonization of law enforcement and the unmitigated disaster that has been bail reform. And it's led to horrific consequences. We saw 20,000 murders in 2020, which is the first time we've seen a number that high since the mid-90s. We're outpacing that number in 2021, and the American public is fed up. A recent Fox Business poll said 77% of Americans believe that violent crime is a major problem in this country, and they're right. And it needs to stop. We need to start holding criminals accountable, and we need to make sure that we're giving police officers the tools they need to do their job.
Let's talk about crime in the heartland for a moment here. We're used to seeing, if you live on the East Coast like I do, you're used to seeing security guards, private security guards, posted inside pretty much all stores, right? All shopping malls, but all individual stores too. This is now something we're seeing happen in the Midwest with this grocery store chain called Hy-Vee's is creating its own private security force. What does that tell you?
You know, I tell you, I'm apprehensive anytime a private company starts an armed security force like this, because we as police officers go through significant training, significant oversight, despite what the, virtue signaling politicians and keyboard warriors will tell you. But I get it. I'm empathetic to these business owners because they have these politicians who are instituting these woke policies, and it's impacting their business, and they're trying to make a living. And it's not just this store. We're seeing Walgreens close dozens of stores in California because we got people going in there with trash bags and filling up products and just walking out of the store. We got other stores that look like military installations at this point because the private sector is responding to what these woke politicians have done. They destabilized our communities, and now we're all suffering the consequences, and they need to start looking in the mirror to understand what they've done.
Wow. Well, Joe Gamaldi, we got to leave it there. Thanks for joining us, and Happy New Year.
Thanks for having me on. Happy New Year.